I'm Demi Owoseje, I'm 29 and my company is called Majeurs Chesterfield. We basically do a variety of things. At the moment we source and restore furniture that we sort of get either off the street or individual sellers, or we can source it anywhere basically, as well as make furniture of our own. We've just launched a new range of furniture to go along with that, so you can sort of picture us as a company that kind of mixes old and new and then creates beautiful new products. An absolute mistake. It was an accident, and by that I mean, when I first started my company, I simply started it as a hobby because I couldn't find work. I studied architecture for a very long time, and the work field was not very nice to me. I was commuting to a job from London to Luton for about a year. I wasn't happy doing that. That was with an architecture firm, and having decided I wanted to leave that, I came back to London thinking, okay, I'm trying to find work, and I didn't find work for the longest time, and I simply started restoring furniture as a hobby. When I quickly realised I could make a little bit of money from that, I carried on doing it to sort of play out the time I was looking for work, and I started making quite a lot of money, and I thought, well, I need money, this is making money, why not stick to it? No, I actually didn't. I didn't approach the Prince's Trust until 2013. So 2 years into the business, having done that, I was running it from home. Once we sort of used up all the space at home, we then transferred our stock to a small storage unit locally, and then we were selling from there as well. We had a website, so we actually approached the Prince's Trust already 2 years in, when we wanted to go to a bigger property that was a lot warmer. So they helped us to basically fund that move. About £4,000, but really it wasn't really about the money, because we were making money already, we were already trading. For me, the Prince's Trust was really sort of taking me from somebody who was basically winging it because I knew nothing about what I was doing, to then refining my skills a little bit more and understanding what it actually took to run a business and to take a business from just a wheeler dealer, which is what we started off as doing, a eBay trader, to somebody who actually had premises, who was online, who had a company image, a logo, a real brand. Well, they helped us to sort of refine ourselves a little bit more. They provided the mentors, which is the key for me. This is one of the reasons why I approached them in the first place, because somebody had told me who had gone to the Prince's Trust prior and said and spoken quite highly of their mentor program, and I thought, I need a mentor. They provided me with an amazing mentor. Her name was Jo, or is Jo, I don't know why I just said that. Her name's Jo, and she basically was able to sort of give me her know-how of the corporate world, of how she runs businesses in the past, and help me refine my skills to sort of know what I'm doing and have a direction. I think for me it was just doubt. A lot of it was, oh, can I really create a brand? Can I really create a website that was fabulous? Can I really face customers and sell them my work? Because it really was my work. I was restoring these things by hand, and I was self-taught. So can I really learn something off YouTube, do it myself, and then sell it to somebody and get money for it? No way. And I think it's sort of overcoming that self-doubt of, oh, can I, should I? And I think just saying, okay, I'm scared, I'm going to do it anyway, and then seeing how that translated into a real sell and progress. And that's what sort of gave me the bit of confidence to just keep going and taking those baby steps. And I think that for me has probably been my biggest challenge, and it still is my challenge, because you have an idea in your mind, it's like, okay, I want to do this, but can I really do it? And I suppose it's just working through the fear. It varies. We do a lot of sort of C2B, we do a lot of B2B business as well. So it's an array of people. It's just, I think the most common denominator within our clientele is just, it happens to be a lot of creative people who are very aware of, sustainable furniture or the environment, or some people who just literally want to save a bit of money but get some good quality furniture. That is very important. I've always had an eye, because even from a young age, I've always shopped at little charity shops, and that comes from my mum. Always wanted the best, but always have enough money to buy the best. So she'll go to the charity shops or flea markets or antique markets, and then she'll dig through all the rubbish to try and find that one beautiful piece or unique thing she can take home and be really, really proud of. And that's how I've grown up, to always save money and to always want quality, but also be mindful that rubbish isn't necessarily rubbish. It just depends on your perspective of it. And I think, having studied architecture, that was also my favourite type of architecture, sustainable architecture, making something from nothing and using local products and local materials. I did a project in India that taught me that immensely, using local resources to build what you can and somehow creating something beautiful from that. And I think that's what I've definitely transferred into my business. Restoration is a huge thing for us. As much as we love new products and new, fresh, furniture and homeware products, we also like to restore the old pieces, and we like to sort of merge that, because I think that's a beautiful thing to do. And if you can do that, I think you have something incredibly unique. I actually have, at the moment we have 3 interns. We've gone up to at least 5 at some times. And I'm always happy to take people on and pay them what I can. And if I can't pay them anything, I can at least give them some work experience so that they can then go off with a little bit of a skill. I think we've made a lot of mistakes, like most business people. I think there's times where we've put money into the wrong things and we've not necessarily had a return on it. And it's like you're pulling your hair out, like, we have no money. Why have we spent all this money on this? And I think it's just a learning process. You just do it, try it, obviously not to an extreme, and then just sort of play with what works and what doesn't work. There's been times when we've spent money and it's been fruitful, and there's been times where we've invested money and we've got nothing from it. And I don't really necessarily think that you can avoid that. That's just a learning curve that you just have to go through it, really. I think I'm quite lucky to have both sides. I think I am quite a risk taker in the sense that things that I'm scared of, I will throw myself into it and do it. Teeth shaking, wobbling feet and knees, I will still do it. And I think in that sense I'm a risk taker. But I think as a young business person and as a startup business, you're quite limited, because you're not necessarily, if I had millions in the bank, I'd probably take a lot more risks, but I don't. So I think it's just understanding your limitations and being quite brave within those limitations, and that's as much risk as I can really afford at this stage. I think it's just the energy and the tenacity, to just that go-getter attitude. That's almost like a naive, is sort of a naive sort of characteristics in you, that you have an idea, we could just do it. There's nothing stopping us from doing it. As much as we're scared, there's nothing stopping you from doing it. Whereas as somebody who's a lot more mature, who's experienced life a lot more, it's almost that naivety, that naive thing inside you is almost quietened a little bit, and you're more cautious. But as a young person who has no real responsibilities, and by that I mean children, a husband to go home and cook for, and all of that, I think I'm a lot more free. And I think that's definitely the benefits of being young in business. I think it's my go-getter attitude. I don't take no very easily. If something is a no, I'm probably going to want it more, and I probably will push for it a lot more. That's definitely my strength, because there's been times where doors have closed in your face, but you push a little bit harder, you'd be surprised what windows you get open. So I think that's probably my strength. I don't like numbers particularly. I'm very, very bad with numbers. So I have an accountant that deals with that. But in terms of finance in itself, I wouldn't necessarily say it's something that I'm completely aware of. It's not something that's just there for people to just access. I think they can probably, finance providers could probably market themselves a little bit better, especially to young businesses, so that you know what's actually available to you. Because I was in business for quite a long time before I knew that the Prince's Trust, although I'd heard about them, starting a business wasn't necessarily something I associated them with. It was more about young people and helping them with, difficult situations. But in terms of entrepreneurship and business, I didn't know that connection was there. And I suppose getting finance, the government have done an awful lot to help young businesses like myself to get access to finance. But I think the marketing, there's something missing between, something not quite connecting between the two. Although there's loads of programs out there, if they could market it better, a lot more people have access to it, and I suppose you could do a lot more, a lot quicker. I think we're just launching our new range of stuff. We're going to start designing, hopefully towards the end of this year, our own ranges, and just experimenting a lot more with our materials and our furniture, our designs, and leather in particularly. That's what we'll be doing for the next year. Fellow business owners, I join a lot of networking sort of things. There's one particular one, BNI, that I was a member of. I've recently left because I've got a lot more commitments. But a lot of networking events, and even turning a few of my suppliers and manufacturers into mentors, because they have the know-how, they have the experience that I need access to. So if I were to go through it myself, it might take me a number of years to get to where they are. But if I just tap into what they've already done and what they're currently doing, it kind of fast speeds what I'm doing. So I tend to turn to a lot of my fellow business people that I deal with on a day-to-day basis and basically say to them, can you be my mentor? So I have a mentor for every area, really. And I think that's definitely something that I would encourage any business person to do. So why do it yourself when you can get somebody else who's done it and tells you what not to do as opposed to what to do? Do it. Simply, there's no other. You can't basically play a game safely without playing it. You've got to just throw yourself into it, and sometimes you'll feel like you're drowning, but so long as you sort of call for help whenever you need it, and don't be afraid to go to people. There's times when I've called absolute strangers that I found online. I'll call companies, just asking questions. Oh, how long did it take you to set that up? What's your design process? When do you launch your marketing for a particular product that's coming out? Because there's things that I don't have the answers to, I don't know, and Google does not have all the answers. Sometimes you just have to connect with people and ask them the questions you don't know the answers to. And you'd be surprised who would help you if you just ask for the help. But don't hold back, just do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? You can't lose money that you don't have. Throw yourself into it, try it. When something goes wrong, take a step back, look at what happened, but don't let that stop you from trying it again. Just try not to do it the same way you did it before, because it might not work. Yeah, I think that's a really difficult question for me, because I thought I was fabulous before. No, I think it's definitely been a growth spur for me, and I think the person I was before had ideas, but was a bit lost. But I think I was a bit naive as well. I thought I can do this, I can do that. I don't know how yet, but I can figure it out. And I suppose now I'm sort of transforming from somebody who was dreaming of ideas, but somebody who's now actively seeking to bring about those things. And I think that's been the biggest transformation for me, that from just someone who talks a lot to somebody who's now doing things. And I'm learning every day that action plus whatever you've got conceived in your mind is the key to getting things done. And I'm learning that. I'm educating myself in the world of business now on a day-to-day basis, reading lots of content, going to lots of networking events, learning from other people. yeah, I think that's been the biggest transformation for me. I like to say I'm now growing into a woman, a businesswoman. They are very proud. I think the proudest moment for them was meeting Prince Charles. Yeah, because my dad's called Charles and my mother's called Elizabeth. So you can imagine how weird that was. My parents are originally from Nigeria. My father came over here in the 60s and my mother joined him in the early 90s. Incredibly hard. Yeah, they've worked incredibly hard, and it's just something that we've been brought up with, I suppose.